In a quiet town in Ohio, where neighbors still wave from their porches and Sunday mornings smell like fresh coffee and cut grass, something unthinkable happened. A 35-year-old nurse named Amanda had always believed her home was her sanctuary, a place of safety, family, and trust. But one evening in October 2022, she did something most of us would never consider. She installed a hidden camera in her own bedroom. Why? Because something felt off. Her husband, Derek, had changed. He smiled less. He stayed out longer. And worst of all, her closest friend, Candace, had become unusually interested in her schedule. What Amanda captured on that footage would shatter everything she thought she knew. A betrayal so deep, so personal, it made her call the police before she even finished watching the full video. This story isn't fiction. It's real. And by the end of it, you'll be asking yourself one terrifying question. Hit like, subscribe, and let's go. Amanda had always been the kind of woman people counted on. She worked long shifts at the local hospital, calm, steady hands in chaos. At home, she kept things just as organized. Her morning started at 6 a.m., packing lunches for her 2 kids, feeding their golden retriever Max, and brewing Derek's favorite dark roast. Life in their modest 2-story house on Willow Creek Lane looked picture-perfect from the outside. Friends called her lucky, a stable job, healthy kids, and a charming husband who coached Little League on weekends. But over time, the small cracks began to show. Derek stopped helping with dinner. He started locking his phone. Candace, Amanda's best friend since high school, dropped by more often, always when Amanda was working late. Still, Amanda brushed it off. Stress, she thought. Every marriage has its phases. But deep down, something didn't sit right. Something small. Like a splinter under the skin. Invisible, but impossible to ignore. It started with something small, almost laughable at first. One evening, Amanda came home earlier than expected. Her shift had ended 2 hours ahead of schedule, and she was looking forward to surprising the kids with ice cream. But as she stepped inside, the house was too quiet. Too clean. Derek's truck was in the driveway, yet he was nowhere to be seen. The bedroom door, oddly, was locked, a habit they'd never had in 15 years together. Moments later, he emerged, shirt slightly wrinkled, hair damp, claiming he had just taken a nap. Amanda smiled, but her stomach tightened. That night, she noticed a wine glass in the sink, just one. Not the kind they used. It had lipstick on the rim, a shade Amanda didn't wear. She said nothing, but something inside her clicked. Like a thread being pulled, unraveling a sweater. It was the first tear in her perfect world. And deep down, she knew, this wasn't over. Not even close. Over the next few weeks, the strange moments became harder to ignore. Derek started showering at odd hours, even late at night, long after Amanda had gone to bed. Their bedroom, once a shared space of comfort, now felt distant. Colder. She'd come home to find pillows shifted, her perfume bottle moved ever so slightly, as if someone had picked it up, tested it, and placed it back, almost too carefully. One day, the closet door was ajar, and inside, Amanda found a woman's scarf, unfamiliar, soft, and scented with something floral and expensive. Not hers. Not Candace's, or so she thought. When she asked Derek, he laughed it off, said it probably belonged to her sister. But Amanda didn't have a sister. That night, as she lay in bed beside him, eyes open in the dark, heart pounding in her ears, she realized she wasn't imagining things. Something was happening in her own home. And she was the last one to know. The final push came on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. Amanda had taken a sick day, a rare thing for her, and decided to stay home in bed. As she scrolled through her phone, something in the hallway caught her eye. A shadow moved past the crack beneath the bedroom door. She froze. The kids were at school. Derek was supposed to be at work. Yet she heard the faintest sound, soft laughter. A woman's voice. And then, silence. By the time she rushed out, the house was empty. Nothing was missing. Nothing broken. But on the kitchen counter sat a coffee mug, still warm, with lipstick that now looked all too familiar. That night, Amanda didn't cry. She didn't scream. She went online and ordered a small hidden camera disguised as a smoke detector. It arrived 2 days later. She installed it quietly, precisely, above the bedroom door. No more guessing. No more doubt. Whatever was happening, she would see it for herself. And what she was about to uncover, would tear everything apart. The footage started off normal, too normal. Amanda sat alone in her car that evening, parked just a few blocks away, her phone in hand, heart pounding as she watched the live feed from the camera she'd installed. For the first hour, nothing happened. Just an empty bedroom, the soft hum of a ceiling fan, shadows shifting with the setting sun. But then, at 6:42 p.m., the bedroom door opened. Derek stepped in. Amanda's breath caught. He wasn't alone. A woman followed, laughing, casual, familiar. It took a second for Amanda to realize who it was, and when she did, the phone nearly slipped from her hands. Candace. Her best friend. The woman who held her newborns, who helped decorate this very room. There they were, moving as if it were their home, not hers, laughing, touching, sitting on Amanda's side of the bed. Her bed. Her world. The betrayal wasn't just personal, it was devastating. Amanda's hands shook. She felt nausea rise, her mind racing. This wasn't just disloyalty. It was deception on a level she couldn't comprehend. And for the first time, she felt afraid in her own home. Amanda sat in silence, the video still playing in her trembling hands. Every second scorched deeper into her, Candace's laugh, Derek's voice, their carelessness. They didn't whisper. They didn't hide. They had no idea they were being watched, by the woman they were betraying in the most intimate way possible. But what broke Amanda wasn't the infidelity. It was the moment Candace walked into the nursery, her children's room, and casually picked up a stuffed animal Amanda's daughter slept with every night. That was the line. That was the moment something inside her shifted from heartbreak to fury. She stood up, grabbed her phone, and called the police. Her voice was steady, cold. Someone entered my home without permission while I was gone. I have proof on video. When the officers arrived, Amanda showed them everything, no shouting, no tears. Just the raw, undeniable truth. Derek returned home minutes later to flashing lights and questions he never thought he'd have to answer. For the first time in months, Amanda felt something powerful. Not fear. Not confusion. Control. But she also knew, this wasn't over. Not yet. The days that followed felt like drowning. Amanda's once quiet home was now filled with tension, whispers, and the cold echo of betrayal. Derek denied everything, of course, called it a misunderstanding, accused her of spying, of being paranoid. But the footage didn't lie, and neither did the police report she filed. Candace never returned her calls. One of Amanda's children asked, "Why is Daddy sleeping at Grandma's?" And that nearly broke her. The hardest part wasn't the separation. It was watching her children try to understand a world that no longer made sense. Friends picked sides. Some distanced themselves. Amanda sat at her kitchen table one night, surrounded by silence, and wondered if she'd ruined everything, or saved herself from something far worse. And then, a message came. A woman from her parenting group, someone she barely knew, wrote, "I saw your story online. You're not alone." It wasn't much, just a few words. But to Amanda, it felt like a lifeline. A whisper of something new. Something strong. In the months that followed, Amanda discovered something she hadn't expected: peace. Not immediately, of course. The legal battles were long, painful, and often humiliating. But she never gave up. Slowly, she started to regain control of her own life, one step at a time. She filed for divorce and won full custody of her children. The community she thought had abandoned her rallied around her, neighbors who offered help with the kids, old friends who reached out with support. And then, something incredible happened. Candace tried to apologize. It was a letter, a heartfelt apology, full of regret and guilt. But Amanda simply put it in the trash. She didn't need her apology. What Amanda had learned was that her strength came from within, not from others. She wasn't defined by her husband's betrayal or her best friend's lies. She was defined by her courage to stand up, to protect her children, and to reclaim her life. For the first time in a long while, Amanda smiled. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. But she was ready. And this time, she wouldn't let anyone take her power. Amanda's life wasn't perfect, and it would never be the same. But in a strange way, the events of that year had reshaped her, not into someone broken, but into someone far stronger than she had ever imagined. She learned to trust her instincts, to value her own worth, and most importantly, to never ignore the whispers of her heart, no matter how small or faint they seemed. Her children thrived in their new life, and Amanda found herself surrounded by new friends, new opportunities. But even as she rebuilt, a part of her would always wonder, how many others are out there, stuck in a life they don't recognize, too afraid to make the change? So, I ask you, would you have done the same? Would you have had the courage to face the truth, no matter how painful? Or would you have turned away, kept pretending? Share your thoughts below. Hit like if this story made you think twice. Subscribe for more true stories, and remember, sometimes the hardest choices lead to the brightest new beginnings.